Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to my thoughts and analysis on this deal. Um, Maybe I should actually just I should write down gets maybe. Toronto gets Kawhi Leonard and Danny Green. And San Antonio gets DeMar DeRozan, Jacob Poeltl, and a protected 2019 first round pick that ends up becoming it's protected in the top 20. So if that ends up not falling through, or if that if it does end up getting protected, San Antonio then gets 2 second round picks. Can't exactly remember when they are though. I don't remember if that is. That's a horrible K. It's a horrible K. I don't exactly remember if that is 2019, 2020 or something. I don't know if Toronto has 2 second round picks in 2019. But essentially, I should say if that whatever. If not 2 second round picks. Good enough. If not 2 second round picks. It's a protected 2019. If not, they get 2 second rounders. That's essentially the deal that has come out of all this nonsense and all this controversy within San Antonio. And it's crazy because obviously Toronto was never really ever in the trade talks. It was always not Cleveland. It was always Los Angeles, Boston, Philadelphia, I think. Yeah, Philadelphia. All these other teams. And what ended up happening was just randomly out of nowhere, Toronto just ended up becoming favorites for a lot of different people. And this is the trade that happens. If you're a San Antonio fan, you've got to be. I don't know. You're hoping that this 2019 first round pick, if you do get it, ends up becoming a really great player. DeMar DeRozan, he's not a horrible player. He's definitely top 5 shooting guard. Maybe not top 5. But he's at least top 10. And you've got to be excited that you have the same team plus a few additions minus a few subtractions. That doesn't make any sense. Oh well, whatever. Essentially, you're going to be pairing DeMar DeRozan with LaMarcus Aldridge. How is that going to work? Who knows? But it's essentially your team last year plus DeRozan. That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. Jacob Poeltl, he's an up-and-coming center. I'm sad to see him go, but oh well. And you know what? Under the under the tutelage of Greg Popovich, he can become something pretty special. And then obviously the first round pick, I don't expect Toronto, especially if Kawhi plays, and it's looking more likely that he'll play, that it will be a first round pick. So if we're just going to assume that it's a first round pick, it's probably going to be around 25, 6. If I'm just going to look at it at the average, probably around there. And who knows? You can find gems there, you can find busts there, but oh well, whatever. Well, I shouldn't really say bust, but you know what I mean. And if you get 2 second round picks, you get 2 players. Oh well, whatever. It's essentially you're getting DeMar, Jacob, and a first round pick, or 2 second round picks for Leonard and Green, essentially. which is okay. Especially if after DeRozan's contract ends, imagine if he just leaves outright. I don't think he will, mind you. But you never know. You never know. Toronto, I mean, Kawhi. That's the big thing, Kawhi. So obviously, Toronto has been in talks with Kawhi, and apparently they've been in talks since the trade went down. And apparently Kawhi is warming up, which is funny because it's Canada, so he should be freezing up. I'm just kidding. That's stupid. Don't laugh. That was a bad joke. I should probably have it over here. But they get Kawhi, and if, let's just be straight with it, Kawhi, I was gonna say Kawhi, Danny. Kawhi, DeMar. Kawhi's better than DeMar. Like, it's just not a debate. Is Kawhi still Kawhi from, back when he was, that top 5 player? Who knows? But safe to say that if he is, Toronto is definitely a better team with Kawhi over DeMar DeRozan. It just depends, is Kawhi going to be there? A lot of expectations and whatnot. Danny Green, it's an interesting one because everybody thought it was only going to be Kawhi if a trade ever went down, especially with Toronto. It would just be Kawhi because who is San Antonio going to trade alongside of Kawhi? Really only Kawhi would be in that trade. Maybe a pick. Ends up being Danny Green. I mean, if you're Toronto, you have to be excited for that. Danny Green brings defense. He brings a three-pointer. I don't see any negative within that. Should always put this over here. Oh well. Just lost my freaking cap. Oh well. Find that later. Who wins this trade? If Kawhi resigns, and if not like I'm saying this is a for sure thing. If Danny Green resigns, if both of them resign, Toronto wins. San Antonio right now wins though, because you don't know if both of these guys are going to be Raptors by the end of next year. That's essentially that. If Kawhi and Danny Green, because they're both free agents next year, if they both leave, you're looking at this and saying, in this trade, Toronto loses. Toronto essentially it would be San Antonio with all this, and then essentially I'm just erasing Kawhi and Danny, and this is essentially the trade. San Antonio gets DeMar Jacob Petel, a first-round pick, or 2 second-round picks, and Toronto gets nothing after a year. And it's a risk, but you know what? It's a risk worth taking to be competitive. Not like I'm saying Toronto wasn't competitive, and now that LeBron is gone, aren't they more competitive now? But it is, how do you say no to getting Kawhi? And the potential of re-signing Kawhi, how do you look at that and think, I can't not do that? It's an opportunity getting a top 5 player. Is he still a top 5? Who knows? We'll find out at some point during the season. And getting a nice role player who may even be a starter on Toronto, to be honest. It's a good deal. as long as you can re-sign these two. If you can only re-sign Kawhi, that's great. If you can only re-sign Danny, you're losing out on Kawhi, but it's a good haul if you can re-sign them. However, San Antonio does get the check because it's just easy. You know, they won a game off Golden State. This team, San Antonio, they won a game off Golden State without Kawhi in the lineup. Now you're adding DeMar and Jakob Poeltl. And you know, say what you will about DeMar DeRozan being a choker in the playoffs, but San Antonio is a different team than Toronto. DeMar, Jacob, I'm thinking you're going to see some really good seasons out of these two. Not only I'm saying DeMar hasn't had good seasons, because he obviously has. But this is an interesting trade. Only, I mean, if Kawhi doesn't resign, though, this is one of the biggest swing trades. Not swing trades, but one of the biggest trades. One of the biggest one of the biggest, one of the baddest trades in Toronto history, at least. And Toronto gets the check mark only if Kawhi resigns. That A looks so bad. Looks like a U. It looks like a U. I don't know. I think I made that worse. Oh well. Check mark only if Kawhi resigns. Who wins the trade? Obviously, it's San Antonio. San Antonio wins. For now. I will say the check mark is essentially just, is this a good trade? And obviously an X would be like a bad trade, obviously. Well, there he goes. We've lost, boys. No, so San Antonio wins outright. They win it just straight right now. Long term, Toronto can win. So I'll revisit this trade maybe after this year. I'll revisit this I'll revisit it once we know where Kawhi goes. Where does Kawhi go? Does he resign? Or does he join LA? One of the LA teams. Because that's where he said he's wanting to go. So, next year, once Kawhi signs somewhere, we're going to see. Did Toronto make a good choice? Or did they screw up a already good thing? That's the trade. That is the trade. I still can't believe it. I mean, nobody can believe it. You know, just everybody wakes up, and that's the trade. I should actually just have it here just to end it off. But that's the trade, and it's going to be interesting to see who, what, where players go after their contracts are up. But for right now, this is the trade, and these are the players that are now on the teams. The teams. So, oh well. Boba Fett. What? So I don't know what you guys have to think about this trade. Is this a good trade? Obviously, you know, just off the gate, everybody's thinking Toronto are fools. But in a year's time, if Kawhi and Danny Green re-sign, are they fools? I mean, obviously not, but it's going to be interesting. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.